Alright guys, so this movie stars Jake Gyllenhaal, but he's not playing Nightcrawler like Nightcrawler from the comics, he's playing a freelance journalist. I'm sorry to upset all the Marvel fanboys who were hoping for a Nightcrawler movie. No, this is not about that. This is about something entirely different. Anyway, hey there guys, what's up? It's Autobot Mike 18 here with another movie review. Guys, in this video I got a chance to see the newest thriller that just released this weekend, Halloween weekend. This came out yesterday, Halloween Day, as a matter of fact. Very appropriate release, I'd say, for this movie. I liked that. Nevertheless, guys, in this video, I am going to be reviewing Nightcrawler. That's right, guys, I just watched Nightcrawler, Jake Gyllenhaal's newest film, and it is a directorial debut for Dan Gilroy. You may know his brother Tony Gilroy, who directed movies like Michael Clayton and The Bourne Legacy most recently. And now I believe they're brothers. I'm pretty sure they're brothers. Now Dan Gilroy has made his first directorial debut called Nightcrawler, and probably not the best title, and I'll say why. Like I love the title of this film, but what pissed so many people off when like the trailer revealed for the movie, I was like reading the comments and everyone's like, "Oh, this is supposed to be about Nightcrawler from X-Men. I don't like that." Everyone was complaining about how this movie is not going to be about Nightcrawler from X-Men, and nobody was commenting on how good the trailer made the movie look. I was like, guys, who cares? The movie looks awesome. But they're like, no, Nightcrawler. I want to see Nightcrawler from the X-Men movies. So that's what people were complaining about. I don't know. Anyway, guys, so yeah, I was actually really pumped for Nightcrawler, guys. Just the premise from the trailer made it look really interesting. Jake Gyllenhaal, who's been on an absolute hot streak, in my opinion. Definitely, from the last few movies I've seen him in, he's definitely one of my favorite actors of this time. You know, one of my favorite current actors. I'm really, really liking Jake Gyllenhaal, and I'm liking the roles that he's starring in, especially his more recent films. Nevertheless, guys, let's get into my review for Nightcrawler. The first thing I'm going to start talking about is the plot. I'll get more into my thoughts on the film a little bit later on. But in this film, we have our central character is Louis Bloom, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. He is, when the film first opens, struggling to find a job, and then one night when he's on a highway, this is all set in Los Angeles, by the way, or somewhere in California. One night on a highway, he spots an accident, like a car fire thing going on, and he sees a freelance journalist crew pulling up in a van, recording the whole accident, and they're going to sell it to a news station. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to do that. So Jake Gyllenhaal buys a police scanner, buys a cheap-ish camcorder, buys a better car, and sets up his own freelance journalist company. Basically, he hires a guy to like do the GPS locations when he's driving, and basically what he does is he listens to the police scanner, and when he hears of a crime, you know, like he's covering like crime stories, you know, like a stabbing, a shooting, car crash, drunk driver, whatever, he'll go to the crime scene, he'll record it, and he'll sell his footage to a news station, and they'll air it on TV in the news. So that is what Gyllenhaal's doing, and for the most part, he's selling his footage to the character of Rene Russo, who runs this channel. I believe it's Channel 6, and that's basically your premise for the movie. He's a freelance crime journalist, and we've never had a movie like this. But the interesting thing about the story is that once Gyllenhaal starts doing this, he starts following down this path. He starts going way too deep into freelance journalism. He starts breaking some rules, doing things that aren't exactly legal, and the question is he going to get out of all of this? So that is basically your premise behind Nightcrawler, and as it's shown in the trailer, it really, you know, the trailer's really popped and, you know, definitely caught my attention, and that's why I got pumped for the movie. And guys, you know, this movie came out at exactly the perfect time, right around Oscar season. Perfect time to come out, especially if it's really good. And yes, I can affirm that Nightcrawler is really good. Yeah, guys, I really liked Nightcrawler. It's definitely one of my one of the better films of the year. You know, in the last few weeks we had like The Judge and Fury, and like I think we all thought like those were going to be definite Oscar contenders, and I think they failed a little bit on their own. It's still good movies, just they could have been much better. I think Nightcrawler definitely makes up for that. and that this is an absolutely compelling, riveting, pulse-pounding thriller with an absolute magnificent performance from Jake Gyllenhaal. I mean, he is at the absolute top of his game in this film. It's amazing, and excellent directorial debut for Dan Gilroy. If you want to cement yourself as a really solid director, direct a film like this as your first film, and then you're going to go places. And I see Dan Gilroy definitely going places after having watched Nightcrawler. Guys, what can I say? I really got hooked into this film. I really was captivated. I'd say from about 10 minutes onward, I was into the film. The final act had me literally on the edge of my seat. I know people, like movie critics, say, oh, it's a pulse-pounding thriller, it's a nail-biting thriller, you'll be on the edge of your seat. I know those are the cliches of praising a thriller. But literally, I'm not kidding you. The final act, I was on the edge of my seat, and I was near biting my nails. I was really, really hooked into what was going on with the film. And that is what I really, really like about Nightcrawler. And the other thing is that the script, which is also done by the director, Dan Gilroy, was also very well done. It's not really about freelance crime journalism, you know, which is what Jake Gyllenhaal's character gets into. It's sort of about two other side stories. You can say it's about a man's descent into complete psychotic state, because you definitely see Gyllenhaal's mental stability go downward a little bit, especially towards the end of the film, and especially his morals as well. And he starts breaking the law a little bit here and there, and it's really, that's another thing that this movie's about. That's another, like, sort of subplot. And you can also say that the film is about the media, and it really says, the movie really says a lot about how the media may attain some footage, you know, because obviously most of the time when we have news footage airing on TV, the news outlets themselves, they send camera crews to go film it themselves, but there are some times where you're going to get a freelance journalist company comes in, films the footage, and sells it to a news company. And there's a whole lot of interesting conversations between Gyllenhaal and Rene Russo, and it says a lot about the relationship between media news outlets and freelance journalists. And there's even an interesting relationship between a media news outlet and the police, you know, because the police aren't going to be happy with every single thing you air. And I just really like that whole thing that was going on with media news outlets and, you know, airing of footage that may be deemed illegal or part of a crime scene or whatever. I just really liked how they touched upon that in this film. It was really, really smart writing in my opinion. Anyway, guys, moving on. Another thing that was so excellent in this film, as I've already mentioned, is Jake Gyllenhaal's lead performance. The guy's incredible in this movie, guys. Definitely one of the best performances of the year. I'm still trying to think, is this performance better than Enemy? I don't know, he was excellent in both, but he is incredible in Nightcrawler. He gives an absolutely chilling performance in this movie. I was really blown away. At times I almost didn't see Jake Gyllenhaal. I saw past him, and he's just flawless in this film. And I loved his character, the way his character had several layers to him. I really loved all of that with Nightcrawler. And I loved how Gyllenhaal's character was so overly desperate and persistent to get a story. He was an absolute risk taker, did whatever it took, even if it meant breaking the law, going way too far, breaking a moral sense, you know? And that's what I really, really loved about Nightcrawler. There is a scene between him and Rene Russo. It's a long take. Gyllenhaal is sort of negotiating terms with her, and it had my mouth open like this. I was like that. The whole scene, you guys will know what it is. It's a pretty long take. It had to have gone on for about 45 seconds to a minute. Gyllenhaal is literally spewing out lines. He's talking so fast, and I was just like, how is this guy remembering all these lines? How does he do that? I mean, it's Jake Gyllenhaal. He's an incredible actor, and he shows it several times in this film. Several key scenes. He was amazing. Definitely, I would say Oscar-worthy. Is he going to get nominated? No, I don't see it happen. I just see the Academy snubbing him. You know, they snubbed him Prisoners. They snubbed him several other times. I don't see him getting nominated, but it's a shame if he doesn't, because he was really, really good in this film. And the supporting cast was also pretty good. Rene Russo, Riz Ahmed, who plays the guy Jake Gyllenhaal hires to work with him in this freelance journalist company, and You also have Bill Paxton, who comes in for a while, and whole cast as a whole was great, but Gyllenhaal shines above everyone else, obviously. He's leading this film, and it definitely succeeds because of just how great he is, how captivating his performance is. It really just sucks you in and just makes you feel for his character, even though you really don't want to root for his character, especially from what the film opens. The opening scene of the film, showing Jake Gyllenhaal do a certain thing, I'm not going to spoil it, you don't want to root for him, but you're like, I gotta root for this guy, he's our main protagonist, and I want to see him get out of all of this, you know? Get out of the mess he's gotten himself into. But anyway, getting into my rating for the film, guys, I really loved it. I did have a few flaws here or there with the film. Had a few things been fixed, I think this would have been an absolute perfect film. Nevertheless, I'm going pretty high with my rating. I'm going to go a solid 9 out of 10 or an A-. Definite recommend for me. It's just a really engaging, really captivating thriller that, you know, it's like a borderline drama, but it's intense enough to call it a thriller. You know what I mean? That is floored by Gyllenhaal's performance. Excellent direction by Dan Gilroy. Really, really well done. And the score, the editing, the film editing was incredible. And I'm going to get into all that when I get into my things I loved about the movie. Starting now, like I said, as I've been praising this whole review, Jake Gyllenhaal's lead performance was absolutely flawless, near flawless in my opinion. Just incredible. Brought so much emotion to that character, and there is another scene where he's at dinner, he's having a dinner at a Mexican restaurant with Rene Russo. Such an overly creepy scene because of not only because of how good the lines of dialogue are, that was really well done, but it's just the way he's delivering these lines. It's just, he really nailed this role. I was really impressed with it. Definitely carries the movie, and it's definitely a performance to remember, I'd say. I was definitely sucked into it, and yeah, and I also really appreciate the direction. I thought the film was very well directed. It was well shot for the most part. One of my only flaws with direction, I felt there was an overuse of close-ups in the film. I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to use close-ups, because it's not. I personally prefer them, but when you overdo it, and I thought they did it too many times in the movie, you know, that's when I say, cut down on it. Other than that, you know, the direction was near flawless from Dan Gilroy. The film was miraculously edited, really, really fast-paced. That third act really gets your blood pumping. And then the score by James Newton Howard was also very, very well done. And of course, the screenplay, original screenplay by Dan Gilroy, fantastic. The premise itself is not only really smart, really clever, the movie as a whole is really smart and very, very well written. And entirely suspenseful and very, very thrilling and in your face. And I really love that about Nightcrawler. And then, of course, yeah, that's everything I really loved about the movie. And, of course, like I said earlier in the review, I really loved what the writing did. It's not just a story about freelance journalism. It's a story about a character's descent into dark paths. And I really like that. And as well as certain aspects of the media, the news outlets, really like that as well. Now, getting into a few problems I had with the movie, it's not a flawless film. There are a few little nitpicks I personally had with the movie, but that's just, you know, my personal problems. One of them, I felt that the first 10 minutes, little slow for me, you know, but again, Gyllenhaal was great, so, you know, it didn't bother me too much, but I really got hooked about, I would say about 15 minutes into the film. You know, Gyllenhaal first gets going with this company, and I really got into it. So there was that. Like I said, too many close-ups here or there. Just a little minor problem I had. Also, if I had to complain about the writing, the only thing I complain about is that I would have liked a backstory on Gyllenhaal's character. Just like a scene, just one scene explaining his, just a simple backstory. Just summed it up like that. That's it. And then one of my other flaws is my biggest flaw, arguably. It's probably the ending. I felt the film didn't know when it was going to end. Like, there's several scenes towards the end where it could end, but it doesn't. It keeps going, and it's not like I wanted it to end, because I was so into the movie, I didn't want it to end, but I just think that the movie itself was confused as to when it should end, and the scene that they picked to end it on I was like, okay, not terrible, and the final shot itself, I would have shot it differently. That's just how I feel. Other than that, this is a near-flawless film, guys. I definitely recommend it, especially if you're a Jake Gyllenhaal fan. If you're a fan of thrillers, I think this explains itself. It's a really engaging and gripping film, and really, really intense and excellent performance from Gyllenhaal. So, 9 out of 10 for me, guys. That's all I have to say about Nightcrawler. Let me know what you guys thought of it if you have seen the movie already. Comments below. Thoughts on the film, and thanks so much for watching, guys. I really appreciate it. I'll see you in my next video. Bye, guys.